Here's a strange fact about how we measure the economy. When an oil tanker spills, GDP goes up because someone gets paid to clean up the mess. But when you spend a year caring for your dying mother, GDP records nothing. Not a small number, 0. Today, just today, humans will do 16.4 billion hours of unpaid care work. That's the equivalent of 2 billion people working full-time for free. And our economic system counts it as nothing. I'm D. Let's count what counts. So who's doing those 2 billion invisible jobs? Mostly women, 76% of all unpaid care hours. On an average day, a woman spends 4 hours and 25 minutes on unpaid care. A man? 1 hour 23. And here's the part that should make you wince. Over the last 20 years, that gap closed by 7 minutes. 7. Priced at just minimum wage, this work is worth around $11 trillion a year, roughly 9% of global GDP. Bigger than the entire global tech sector. And the cost isn't abstract. 606 million working-age women are out of the paid workforce because they're caring for someone. For men, that number is 41 million. None of this is an accident. The economist Marilyn Waring showed, back in 1988, that national accounts were designed to count only market transactions. So when governments cut childcare, elder care, health budgets, the work doesn't disappear. It slides off the books. Onto someone, usually a woman, usually unpaid, always invisible. Now here's where Degrowth flips the script. Degrowth doesn't just want to count care. It says care is the model for the whole economy. Think about it. Care is local. You can't offshore your grandmother. It's non-extractive. Nothing gets mined, nothing gets burned. The resource is human attention, and attention is renewable. It's relationship-based. The product isn't a transaction, it's a bond. And it's permanent. No marketing department has ever had to manufacture demand for being looked after. That's everything a degrowth economy values. Already running, already at scale. Just unpaid. So degrowth proposes 3 shifts. Revalue care. Count it, support it. Like the care income now being proposed in Europe, a public payment for people doing unwaged care. Redistribute it. Shorter working weeks and parental leave like Iceland's, where fathers get months they can't transfer. Use them or lose them. And reduce what competes with it. Less of the paid work that doesn't matter, so the work that keeps us alive has room to breathe. And I know what you're thinking. Who pays for all this? Here's the thing. We're already paying for the wrong stuff. A society that deliberately produces less doesn't produce less care. It produces less fast fashion, less advertising, less planned obsolescence. Shrink those and you free up the workers, the money, and the materials for the things that keep us alive. Add fair taxes on wealth and pollution, and the numbers are smaller than you'd think. One costing put universal basic services for an entire country at just over 2% of GDP. That's not utopian. That's a fraction of what we already spend on producing more. But maybe something about all this bothers you. Maybe you look after your mom, and you don't want to be paid for that. It's not a job. It's love. It's duty. Degrowth agrees with you. Completely. Nobody is proposing a wage for love. Even the feminists who demanded wages for housework back in the 70s were making a point, not writing an invoice. The point being how much the economy free rides on unpaid love. But ask yourself this. Why does doing your duty cost you your income, your pension, your health? And why does duty so reliably land on daughters and so rarely on sons? The goal was never to pay you to love your mother. It's to build an economy that stops punishing you for it. Support, so you're not the whole care system on your own. Time, so the caring can be shared. Recognition, so what you give actually counts. Here's an exercise. 2 columns. On the left, every act of care you gave today that nobody paid for. On the right, every act you received that you didn't pay for. The meal, the lift, the listening. That's your entry in the real economy, the $11 trillion ledger no one keeps. We ran this experiment once, in 2020. When the world locked down, we discovered which workers were truly essential, and almost all of them were doing care. We clapped. Then we went back to not counting. Don't go back. Once you see the invisible economy, you'll read every headline about growth differently. Next week, food. What food sovereignty actually means and why agroecology might be the most underrated revolution of our time. Subscribe if you haven't. Let's build a world that thrives by design, not by default.